struggling with old emotions from the past that keep coming up. This is your inner child. Your inner child, a past version of you, holding on to emotional wounds that haven't been fully processed and healed. These wounds, when not addressed, they can shape how you feel in your day-to-day life, create this general feeling of sadness and hurt, quick to anger, irritability. They can make you highly sensitive to being triggered, feel less confident, and they shape your reactions and how you behave as a person. The amazing news is you can heal your own emotional wounds. A lot of them are possible to heal by yourself. So I'm going to walk you through a really practical, simple 3-step process to heal these wounds. And when you do this right, you'll know you're doing it right because you'll feel a healing energy in your body. You'll feel these emotions that were frozen coming to the surface, being released, integrated. And this will let you know that you're on the right path. So really quickly, if you don't know me, I'm a confidence and social anxiety coach based in Birmingham. But let's jump right in to this content. So the first step is to tune in to the emotions. These emotions could be emotions that have been triggered by something you've experienced recently. Maybe something apparently small and minor in the outer world has happened and it brought up these difficult emotions, anger and hurt, and left you feeling actively triggered. Or another alternative is that randomly emotions have surfaced that are difficult and painful, and they're weighing you down and affecting your ability to enjoy life and interact with people and the wider world. Another possibility is that your general state, your base feeling, just how you feel for most of your life, is actually associated with pain, sadness and hurt, part of your emotional imprint. So whichever case applies to you, there is hurt that you can tune into that relates to your inner child and an unresolved past wound. Fully tune into this, the emotions, the sensations. That's step 1. Step 2 is to trace this hurt, this pain, this wound back to the root. So the root is going to be a past version of you that experienced unfair treatment and internalized this scar. The good news is it's not a scar in a permanent sense, it's a wound that's possible to heal. So tracing it back to the ultimate root is step 2. You can ask yourself questions such as, when have I felt like this in the past? See what pops up. And if you can't trace it to the absolute base root, you're on some outer branch of a branch of a branch on a tree, just trace it back to an incident that comes to mind. Maybe you can trace this wound back to times where you got picked on, hypothetically, in high school. So tracing it back as far as you can for now. Then step 3 is to essentially coach yourself to reparent yourself, but the current version of you listening to this video right now plays the role of the parent / coach, and you're on the periphery of the scene where the younger version of you experienced that hurt and pain. So what you do is you visualize your current self on the periphery of a scene involving a younger version of you. The younger version of you is going through a challenge or struggle. You communicate with that younger version of you exactly what he or she needs to hear. The message that's appropriate for that younger version of you. Maybe the younger version of you needs hope, encouragement, support, wisdom. It needs to know that it's possible to overcome this. It's possible to learn skills and communication tools to not have this happen again. So tell your inner child what they need to hear. And if your inner child wants to speak back, that past version of you, let your inner child speak. Listen very, very attentively. Be super supportive, empathetic, and tell that version of you everything's going to be okay. You're going to protect it from now on. It will never happen again. You'll know you're doing this right when you feel a healing energy coursing through your body. Different sensations will be present in various parts of your body. For example, your cheeks and jaw and chest, because your nervous system holds on to these frozen emotions and they're being released and integrated as well. Allow yourself to feel what comes up. You're going to feel lighter over time and less triggerable. That wound has somewhat healed. And with multiple rounds of this, you can heal the wound further, further, and further. And I'll give you a few examples to make it more clear and more personal as well. So when I was in high school, firstly, I had selective mutism for a number of years. And this means that my social anxiety was essentially so bad that I would only speak 1 to 2 words a day. I'd go into school, not engage with any person, sit on a row in classes by myself, completely isolate and shut down. That's how I used to live my life. I also had jaundice, bright yellow skin. So I'd get picked on for the jaundice, being incredibly quiet, didn't have boundaries or know how to socialize and stick up for myself. And people would also say things like I have a voice that doesn't match my face. So I would feel like the ultimate misfit, loser, lonely person at that time in my life. And that hurt me, created a number of wounds. So the current version of me went back to the past version, and I was on the periphery in my visualization of scenes where that past version of me was internalizing unfair treatment. And I told my inner child at that stage exactly what he needed to hear. I said that you're going to get through this. These people around you who are looking down on you, they're going to be a lot less successful than you in life. You're going to figure out a way to overcome your social anxiety, learn great boundaries and have confidence to stand up for yourself. You're going to overcome this underdog mentality, flip the script, leapfrog these people. Things are going to change big time. I also told my younger self that you're so talented, but you don't realize it yet. You don't see your strengths and abilities. They're hidden from your own awareness. And I gave my inner child that message of hope, encouragement, and support. This felt healing for me to do. I could feel different emotions surfacing, and it helped me resolve this wound. There's other wounds that I have resolved as well. One of them was showing up in my dating and relationship life. And this wound was a really strong urge to seek sympathy from a girl that I like before building a romantic relationship. And I didn't know where this urge was coming from. I didn't engage with the urge because I knew that it was victimhood, not necessary anymore. I also knew that it came from my inner child, and it wouldn't frame me as a confident person who's secure, which is the person who I am today. And I traced this back to past times in my upbringing where I'd received quite cold and harsh treatment from parents, and use sympathy as a way to soften this. And again, I did the same process, telling my inner child what he needed to hear at that age. Reparenting, you can call this. And I allowed my inner child to speak and get out exactly what he wanted to say. And it healed this wound, and this urge isn't there anymore. Not that I ever acted on this anyway, but I could feel it in the background and it was bothering me. And in the past, before I got confident and received coaching myself, this complex, this pain would want to hijack conversations and block them from going further. So when you work on yourself in this way, you can become so much lighter and so much happier. And I see this happen with people that I'm coaching, as well as people that are coming to my events. When they first turn up, I can see there's emotional baggage and a sense of heaviness there. A stiffness, a heaviness. Over time, they lighten up. They physically look lighter. They express themselves more. They're having more fun. Things feel less serious, less heavy, and it's just less of a big deal. They've let go of a lot of their emotional baggage by opening up and having these different wounds healed. And also, a number of my clients have said that they feel sad in general. They feel hurt and sad, and they have just accepted that as part of their normal feelings. And they didn't realize that it doesn't have to be this way. It's not a permanent state. These things can be changed. It just takes quite a lot of work. So if it's your base state, that you're not feeling great, you're feeling hurt a lot of the time, probably there's quite a number of these unresolved wounds that can be healed to make that difference. Going to go on something which might feel like a tangent, but it isn't. It's very, very related to the same topic, and it's about processing traumas. I'm going to give you a real life example which comes from the animal world. So if there is a herd of gazelle and a lion, and the lion chases after this herd of gazelle, the gazelle of course run away as fast as they can from the danger. And let's imagine that all but one of the gazelle successfully escape the predator, but one unlucky member of that herd, of that tribe, slips and falls to the ground. So this gazelle initially had the fight or flight response activated, very quickly determined that it's not got the strength to fight the lion, so it tried to flee, and its attempt to flee failed. So it's only got one card left to play, one option remaining, and this is to freeze, to play dead, to play possum. So this is what the gazelle does. It pretends that it's meat that's been dead for a long time. On the off chance that the lion might think, not today, I'd rather kill and have fresh meat than risk meat that might be rotten. And imagine that gazelle gets a lucky escape. The lion decides, I'm not going to eat you today. The gazelle then gets up when the lion's passed, and it's trembling, shaking, just been traumatized, and it reunites with the herd. And then what happens is pretty amazing, and I promise you this isn't a lie, this is real. The gazelle, they reenact the traumatic event. So one of the gazelle plays the role of the lion chasing after the herd, and the gazelle that didn't escape by running away, the traumatized gazelle gets to practice escaping and overcoming that situation time and time and time again. Multiple attempts to escape, and it gets to a stage where it's upskilled so much, grown so much, that it no longer views that situation as a reasonable threat to its safety. It can easily run away, and now the gazelle is aware of this. Once the gazelle gets to this stage, it then shakes uncontrollably, releasing the trauma energy from its nervous system, and it carries on with life, not holding on to that trauma. The crazy thing with us humans is that we don't often do that. We go through life, pick up these wounds or traumas if it's life and death, and then we just carry on with life, but without resolving these wounds attached to a past version of ourselves. And it's like there's a past version of ourselves in our system that's frozen with those emotions stored right there, and our body wants to protect us from the same thing happening in the future because it believes it's a threat. But the current you has probably already grown so much and upskilled so that the past insult wouldn't bother you as much as it bothered the past you. And this means that if the current you, the upskilled you, which is like that gazelle that has successfully escaped in the role play multiple times over, if this version of you, the trained up version of you, can go back to the younger you, communicate exactly what that version of you needs to hear, it can resolve the conflicts and allow that energy to pass through your system, leaving you feeling lighter. Now, with time and practice, doing this kind of work, you could call it shadow work, you develop a greater sense of self-connection. And you know you're on the right path when you're feeling the healing energy and you're feeling lighter. So go away and practice this and enjoy the benefits. I always say to people that they're not going to grow in life from passively consuming content, whether it's a book, videos, a seminar. It's about the work you do, the action you take in response to the material that you're consuming. So me telling you this and you sitting back and just listening, it's not going to change your life. It's only going to make a difference if you put it into practice. And this is why, as well as doing videos for social media and encouraging people to take action, it's why I also do live in-person events. And I'm going to put on virtual events in the summer as well for people who can't get down to Birmingham. It's why I also do one-to-one coaching. And as well as doing the paid coaching, which is my full-time business, I do one free session per person that's interested. Value first, payment second. That's my business model. Confidence in my own coaching. never any upfront commitments. And if you're interested in having somebody coach you to go further, healing past wounds, growing as a person, getting more confident, reducing social anxiety, all these good things, you're very welcome to check out my landing page in the description box below this video. Various links to different services, the taster, the events, newsletter, etc. And yeah, it's completely in your hands to do what feels right for you. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to hit like, post any comments about your experience, email me any questions that you might have. Really enjoying this sunshine and making the most of it. Until next time, hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.